Hello True Believer and welcome back. Today we're going to go through how to do selection statements within Scratch. So the first question we need to ask is, are you good? Now, a computer basically only ever understands two potential options, so either true or false. So if you're good and it's true, you can have some lovely ice cream. If it's false, you can go have some moldy broccoli. Okay, so that's basically how conditional statements will work. So you'll have a condition or a question you need to ask yourself, or the program will ask, and then you'll have two separate responses, so true or false, and then the particular option that you get. Okay, so what is a conditional statement? It decides whether or not to execute a particular set of statements based off the truthness of another statement. Okay, so these decisions are based on Boolean expressions or conditions, and that evaluate true or false. Okay, so basically you'll come up, you'll ask the question, and it's either true or false based off that statement. Now, a program basically runs off multiple if statements, so you can have a whole selection of these within your program. Okay, so here's a simple if statement. If you're a girl, raise your hand. So the condition that's checked is if you're a girl, and see how it's wrapped around the if and then the comma. So in English language, but that's almost a programming language in itself. Then the raise your hand is the statement that gets executed. If you like basketball, stand up. So there's the condition that's checked, and then there's the option that it gets executed. You now will stand up. Okay, so the way this if statement works is pretty simple. As the program flows, there's the condition that gets evaluated. If it's true, then that set of statement or statements gets executed. If it's false, you basically skip it all and move on. In Scratch, it looks pretty simple. That's what it looks like. Okay, so you have the if statement up here with a condition to be evaluated within this hexagonal. Then the statement to do if the test is true, it gets executed. Notice there's nothing that occurs if it's false. So if it's false, you just totally skip this whole statement and move on in the program. So we're going to build basically our simple if statement in Scratch, which will look like this. So we come over to Scratch and we're going to build it. So we go under events. When green flag is checked, we're going to make a data variable called A, which I've already done here, but you just basically click that, type A, then OK. And then we're going to set A over here to 3. Then we go to control, we go if, and we want to check our operators. So we want to check that it's greater than. And we're going to go back to A. So A is greater than 2. Now this statement, when it gets evaluated, see how it will always be true. And we want basically the program to turn by 15 degrees. So we don't really need to do all of this. We could have made a simpler program just by putting true inside of this, but we want to sort of execute this. Now if I click on the green flag, look what happens. He doesn't continually rotate. We'll do that later. But if I keep clicking on this, the Scratch little cat will keep rotating around. Now back to the PowerPoint. So that's basically what that simple little program did. We then have the if-else statement, which works a little bit different. So instead, unlike the if statement where there's only one thing that's can be executed, an if-else statement has two different options. Okay, so it's either the true option or the false option. So if you like make netball, raise your hand. Else, stand up. So if the condition with that is if you like netball, that's the question. The true answer is you raise your hand. The false answer is you stand up. So notice everyone in the room when this question was asked had to do one of these options. So they couldn't just do nothing. And that's how the if-else statement works. Another way is if you're a 12, go to the right side of the room. Else, go to the left side of the room. There's no chance for you to stand in the middle. Okay? So, if-else statement, the way it works is it comes down, the condition is evaluated. If it's true, execute this statement or set of statements. If it's false, go over here and execute this statement and move on. And then keep going with the program. Notice that these statements can't be executed both at the same time. This one has to be done separately, as is this one. Now in Scratch, this is what it looks like. Same little hexagon at the top. And this statement gets executed depending on this condition being true. If it's false, it goes down here. So the test happens in this box here. If the statement's true, execute these statements. If it's false, do these ones. So we're going to build again another simple Scratch exercise, which is going to look like this. Okay, so we go to events. Oh, sorry, we delete that one again. Click on there. We want to do a forever loop. And we want to use the if then else block, which goes in there. And this time we're going to be checking that the mouse is down. Now, if the mouse is down, we want to move 10 steps. Else, we're going to turn it by 15 degrees. Now, let's see what happens with Scratch when we execute that. So Scratch is going to be continually moving around and rotating, because if the mouse is down, we're going to move, else we're rotating. So if the mouse isn't down, this keeps happening over and over. Now, as soon as I click, look what happens. Scratch will move in whatever direction he's currently pointing in. Okay, which is kind of cool. Okay, so that's the example number 2. So we now move on to activity 2. So you need to look at the separate YouTube that goes with this. It's a simple exercise with a guessing game. So you're going to guess a number between 1 and 30. You have 5 attempts to try and do it and hopefully win. And we need to work out basically how to program that. So that's on a separate YouTube underneath this. One of the questions, just to finish off this video, is can you always find the answer within 5 tries, and how? So here's the actual strategy that you can use to sort of wow your friends with how to guess a number within a number of tries that are less than the number that you're trying. So here's how it works. So we're going to guess a number between 1 and 30, and the secret number is going to be 8. Okay, so if we guess straight away, we're going to guess the number 15. Okay, and the responses we can get is either that it is correct or it's above or below. Okay, so if we guess 15, the answer that comes back is that it's lower. Now, straight away from this little guessing game, we've removed half of the answers by saying that the response was that it's lower. Okay, now we do another guess. So we're going to guess that it's 7, and the answer is going to come back as higher. So we've removed all these possible responses. So we've almost gotten down to about a third of the potential options that from the very beginning. Okay, so now, quarter. Now we're going to have a guess, and we're going to guess number 11. So the halfway point between these two, between the options that are available. And we're going to get the answer that's lower. We now guess 9. We get the answer that's lower. And now we know clearly that it's 8. Okay? So that's a way that you can get guess a secret number within 5 goes from the numbers 1 to 30. So how many guesses do you think that it would take to do 1,000,000? Right? Now, the answer is quite surprising. A lot of people think it's 100,000, 5,000, 10,000 I've heard from some people. The actual answer for this is 20. And if you're wondering a bit more, please come and have a chat with me and we can talk about it. Okay then. Looking forward to seeing your responses for Anna and Elsa's guessing game. And all the best.